Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video I'm going to go through sculpting this mini lop head, so stay tuned. So first of all, I'm using Monsterclay, and Monsterclay is a wax-based clay, so it won't harden, so it's really only good for if you're making molds and casting things in resin. And I have a couple of videos on Monsterclay in my Materials 101 playlist, so definitely check that out and it'll give you a more in-depth review on Monsterclay. So I've just started off with a round ball of that Monsterclay, and I made some indentations of where I want the eyes to be. So the eyes, I am using just some glass cabochons, and I've placed them in there, and then I'll go ahead and sculpt the rest of the part of the bunny head. So right now I am working on the muzzle area, or the little lip area. So I'm just building it up with some more of that Monsterclay, very, very roughly. Then I'm going to go ahead and just carve out some lines for the eye area as well. So then I'll go ahead and work on the nose area. So if you have a look at a bunny's nose, it sort of is just two little lines that join up to the muzzle area. So you don't want to make it too big, just because it'll end up looking like some kind of different animal rather than a bunny. So my advice would be to definitely refer back to some pictures and anatomy of bunnies, and that will help you sculpt your bunny head. So moving on to the eyes, and I'm just building up the area around the eyes using just a little worm that I have rolled out of some Monsterclay, and then I go ahead and put that around the eye itself. It also holds in place that cabochon, so it won't fall out. And then I'm going to go ahead and build up the brow line using a snake-like bit of Monsterclay, and then just see how it all works and if I'm happy with the way the anatomy looks. So now I'm going to go ahead and build up the muzzle area again and smooth it out a little bit more so it flows more nicely and doesn't just look this weird chocolate thing that's placed on top of the front of the face. And then I can move on to do the under the chin area and the lower jaw, and they really have a small little jaw, so I just use a thin piece of Monsterclay and just work it in to all the little joints that I've already sculpted out. And again, going back and working on the cheek area, because mini lops have a pretty chubby cheek, so I wanted to have a chubby cheek sort of mini lop. So it's one of the only dolls that I'm planning to make cute, so how can you not make a mini lop cute? So going ahead and working on the nose again, and just building up that nose area, so you can see by adding that tiny little bit of Monsterclay how much more it actually looks like a bunny, and it's really as simple as that. I can then move on to making the ears, and I haven't 100% decided what I'm going to do with the ears, so I'm going to experiment with a couple of different things. So this is an experiment using some Monsterclay if I wanted to do some ears that are resin. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that or if I'm going to do it out of just faux fur itself and add them after. If I do it in resin, I'll have to cast them in 3 parts, so the head and the 2 ears itself. So it's really, really rough at the moment. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do yet, but we can proceed with the head itself and then just come to the ears later. But I really, really like the way these looked, and I really like the way it sits on the head. Just means that it won't really be movable, which I would like to have movable ears. But then again, mini lop ears don't really move that well, so much of a muchness. So now I'm going to go ahead and just sculpt out the eye area a little bit more, just a little bit more detail. Wasn't really happy with the way it was looking, so yeah, I've got like this little rake tool. I got it from a local shop called Barnes. You can make one yourself though. It's just like a little wire that is stuck into a little tube of metal. And it's really, really handy. I want to make more of them, and I want to make a video on how to make them as well. So leave it in the comments if you're interested in that. Moving on to the furring process, and I'm just using a needle tool to just create some fur texture into the Monsterclay. I always get a lot of questions asking why I even bother to fur the piece if I'm going to cover it with fur anyway. So I like to do it because I find it makes the piece more finished, and I can actually sculpt little bits and pieces while I'm furring, so I can get little crevices and indentations and stuff like that once I'm furring as well. And it sort of brings all of the clay together, but it's not really a necessity to have to do it. Some people think it's a waste of time, but I would much rather do this on my pieces. And it also helps me with the fur direction as well when I'm applying that faux fur. So really a couple of reasons, but not really necessary, but it works for me, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I'll be making a mold of this with some silicone, and I will be casting it in resin to make some dolls. So definitely stay tuned for that, and keep an eye on my social medias if you are interested in purchasing one of the dolls. And like I said before in a couple of previous videos, I am moving my Etsy shop to my own shop, which is located on my website. I find it way cheaper to actually have your own shop than what Etsy has with its new fee increase, and they're seeming to add lots of fees to everything that you do now. So I'm kind of done with Etsy and their fees and their greediness. So I am moving my shop to creaturesofnat.com, and it should be up in the next couple of weeks. I hope to have some supplies and some more dolls and stuff like that in my shop as well. So head over there if you want to see them when it is open. Alright, and that is it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. If you have any requests, you can leave it in the comments down below. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!